So first of all, I want to have a very warm welcome to Joshua. Very happy to have you on this webinar because I think you have a super interesting past, coming originally from the marketing background. Advise big and huge companies like MySpace and Google's how to spend 100 of millions in ads. And then, the Standout Authority, it's around since 10 years. And you're kind of advising on a personal level, corporate level, how to get the branding right, which is mostly for us, ourselves, and also for us as a startup, very important how we can stand out in these big pool of startups, and especially how we can stand out on LinkedIn. So we're going to talk a bit today about how you can build a brand on LinkedIn, how you can reach out to people in the right way. And I think I'm very happy. So very warm welcome to Joshua.
Love it. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Good. So maybe let's jump directly into the topic. As you know, we have a lot of SDRs, account executives, and everyone who does prospecting on LinkedIn. How do you actually can stand out there, and how can you build a brand that can be seen, that you can use for social selling, to get new clients or prospects and build up your audience? How do you do that?
Well, I mean, there's so many different things. And I mean, the biggest thing, David, I want to make sure we kind of start off with is, what the true definition of social selling is, right? Because I mean, so many people see it in a different light, and they think that, what they're doing, you and I have seen it so many times. I'm sure everyone on here as well too, is they think that they're taking your same spammy techniques, that used to be offline, and they're like doing it on social, and they're like, yay, I'm social selling, but that's actually not the truest definition, right? Social selling is really about leveraging your social network to find the right prospects, to build trusted relationships, and ultimately achieve your sales goals, right? We use social media really to find, connect, and influence business decisions. And I mean, that's what I want people to understand, right? If you look at the definition of social selling, David, there's nothing in there that says selling, right? Yeah. It's all about building relationships, leveraging, finding, connecting, influencing, right? And so that's where I think most people need to understand when we're talking about social selling is we've got to be able to understand how we do it first. And I mean, look, we can all kind of go through, David, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but like how many times we all talked about the different LinkedIn requests, right? I mean, like, I love when I get hey, David, I see you wearing a shirt. You want to connect? And I'm like, okay, are you kidding? Like, yeah, that's great. I mean, I get all the time, hey, Joshua B, ever thought about using LinkedIn to get leads? And I'm like, you didn't look at my profile at all, right? I mean, these are those things that we're looking for. And as we want to be able to go in, we want to stand out, we have to be able to make sure how we actually connect with people. And this is why I love what you and LeadJet do as well too. And this is why we got on this call, because it's all about that personalization. And personalization starts with you as well too. It starts with your profile. I mean, look, everyone, if you don't realize right now, LinkedIn is highly SEO optimized. It's one of the best platforms out there. When you talk about search engines, we've got, of course, Google, but Pinterest is a search engine. YouTube is a search engine, right? LinkedIn is a search engine. The Moz score on LinkedIn, David, and that's how SEO is ranked on Google, is 100 out of 100, everyone. So realize that even if you take your same content, your blog on your own website, if you put it on LinkedIn, one, you're not going to get dinged where they're like, oh, you can't put the same content on there. But at the same time, you're probably going to show up higher on LinkedIn's results than it would on your own blog if you posted the same article. So these are why we want to make sure is when we put your profile up, it starts with a great picture, being able to go through. We're not using those same pictures that we use like on Instagram, hanging out, or TikTok, or whatever it might be. You want it to be professional, but you want it to be you too. And then the next thing, David, what I'll tell everyone is, I mean, I really think it all starts with the headline. David, most people kind of go in and they're like, hey, I'm the CEO, founder, sales, business development, whatever it is. That's great, but that says it in your LinkedIn profile already. You're wasting opportunity to be able to make it customer facing forward. And me personally, I believe in the XYZ statement, right? So XYZ for everyone to be able to kind of go into, and then we'll kind of pull back a little bit, David, is I help X to achieve Y so they can do Z or have Z, right? So I help X, that's your ideal client, right? This is the person you're trying to be able to connect to, because we want to be self-identifying. I want people to say, oh, that's me, or not me, because I want to make sure we're bringing in our tribe, our opportunity, the people that we want to connect with, and repelling the people that aren't our ideal client. So I help X to achieve Y. Now, this is the service, right? So the why is what most people sell on, right? They sell you on service, but no one cares about the service aspect. They don't care how you cook the fish, right? They care how it tastes at the end, how it makes them feel, whatever it is. They don't even care how you caught the fish, right? They just want to make sure that if you're sitting down for an amazing dinner and that fish is prepared, well, they love it. So yes, you need to be able to tell people what you do, but you don't need to be a sell on it. It's Z is the most important part. I help X, ideal client, to do Y. This is the service or opportunity that you provide so they can achieve Z. This is the outcome. This is the real reason why someone's going to work with you, buy your service, hire you, all those other things. As human beings, we are emotional creatures. We make decisions on emotion. We make a decision based on some degree of love or hate. I'm just going to be honest with everyone. This is why we make things go. Some degree of those things, right? So if you actually put content out there, if you put yourself out there, and you are indifferent to somebody, guess what? You're not only wasting their time, you're wasting your own. You have to be able to tell them what goes on and why they want to be able to work with you and what that outcome is. So I help X to achieve Y so they can have Z. If you put that and use that as your title and your headline, that's what will draw your clients in. And that's where that personal branding starts off right out the gate, David. What do you think?
I think like we did exactly the same when we started to first sell our product. And now I'm talking about demo calls. I had a training with my team, and we were starting to directly go into product, show the product, the benefits. So we were puking sales actually. And I said, maybe it's way better to start first having a kind of conversation and a relationship. So at the end of half an hour demo call, I think we talked 20 minutes about maybe Germany, maybe about Oktoberfest, and then 10 minutes about our actual product. And we saw that the conversion rates were way higher than they were before. I think now we have a conversion rate of 70%. And we actually love having demo calls because we meet a lot of people from various different backgrounds, from very different countries, and we help them in doing whatever. Mostly, of course, helping them in sales. And I think that's so important because we create relationships with them and not puking sales.
No, I love that. I mean, that's the whole piece, right? I mean, this is where I want everyone to understand when we talk about, especially it's any platform, right? I mean, but in any situation, you've got to be able to start a conversation, because a conversation can lead to a relationship. A relationship creates opportunity. Most people, and David, you and I see this all the time, is they jump straight from, hey, how are you? To, hey, will you buy my product or service? And they puke that sales right out the gate. And we all get turned off. And I mean, that's what we don't want to do. We've all been there where we get those sales. I mean, most people that they're going out there, they're sending out 1,000 messages and hoping to be able to get that one sale, when in essence, all they're doing is pissing off 999 people. What David's talking about, what he learned, what he's going through, is he's making sure he's building an advocate first by building that relationship, right? And then allowing that advocate to choose to become a client, right? If someone chooses to work with you rather than being sold to work with you, it's so much more powerful and will work so much more. So, I mean, that's what I want everyone to kind of think about when you go through this, because it's better to be able to have 999 advocates than go for those one-to-one sales, because those are so binary, right? Being able to go through them. An advocate can bring you 10 more people, while one-to-one sale, that's all it is.
And so, Joshua, you talked about like the profile, getting the right picture, getting the right kind of profile message.
Yeah.
I think I need to do something here as well, because like first I changed now my picture, because first I was like in the history in my past a banker, so I had like a picture with a suit, etc. Now we're in a startup world, working also with younger people, so I need to adapt here my profile a bit as well, because before I only saw LinkedIn as recruiting, but not for kind of selling or selling myself. So once you got this first like message, like your bio and your picture, what do you do then? Like normally, do you start writing?
And I mean, I want to make sure too, with David, we touch on that, right? Because Like that's what everyone sees. It's a recruiting aspect. I mean, the platform's changed. A couple of years ago, if everyone didn't realize it or not, Microsoft purchased LinkedIn for $24.7 billion cash, right? One of their largest cash purchases ever. So, I mean, like, think about that. Like a platform like LinkedIn is owned by a behemoth like Microsoft. And if you're going to bet against a company like Microsoft, I mean, they've been around longer than everyone. So the opportunity as it's shifting, you're seeing this shift on LinkedIn as it continues to be able to go in. You know, as you kind of look at this different aspect, right? Like I love LinkedIn because the average person on LinkedIn has a college degree or higher, right? So you're looking at an educated audience. Next, you look at LinkedIn and you kind of go, well, average incomes, right? Like I want to make sure someone can actually afford the products and services I look at. So Facebook average income, I think, is around $64,000 a year. Twitter's around $58,000 a year. Just a quick show of hands, or in the chat, right? What does everyone think the average income? And you can put it whatever. I mean, I'm talking in US dollars because I know we got people around everywhere. You know, what do you guys think the average income on LinkedIn is? Any guesses? Kurt knows almost exactly. Kurt, you've probably you've seen this before, but yeah, Landry, you've got it too. It's around 118. $120,000. So I mean, like that is almost double what you see the average income on other platforms. So, you know, great guess, y'all. I mean, like you guys have been able to go, actually, I listened to you on a podcast. So Kurt's listened to me before. So he's heard this go through. So, I mean, that's the whole piece, right, David? I mean, like, as you kind of go through and like what I want you to think about, and David, I'm going to be honest, I'm looking at your profile, right? So I've got you up and I want everyone to kind of think about, right? Like, what you think about with your profile is you got your picture, you got your title. The next piece you want to look at is your header, right? This is a banner, right? Think about this as an advertisement, opportunity, something that's going in. Don't let it be static, right? If you've got an event coming up, if you've got something changing, you can be able to shift and change and use this to be able to go in and talk about what you do, what you offer, and then what events you have coming up too.
Yeah, I saw that with you. Like I talked with Veronica from my team yesterday when we had the debriefing for the webinar. And I said to her, wow, Joshua is doing that so smart. Like he puts his live event as a banner on LinkedIn. So we never thought actually about this. And for the next webinar, we are, I think, doing it for sure with the whole company, everyone. I say, okay, change your picture, background picture, and have the live webinar there. Yeah.
That's it, man. I mean, it's amazing to be able to do that. And the cool thing is too, if everyone didn't realize, LinkedIn just rolled out. And David, we need to get you on creator mode, right? Because creator mode gives you so many more new things that LinkedIn just launched everyone. And if you're actually on your profile, you'll see it and it'll say dashboard. You definitely want to turn creator mode on, because what that's doing is it's raising your hand to LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm going to be on LinkedIn. I want to get access to the newest tools. I want you to be seen, right? So it allows you to be able to pick 5 hashtags that you want your content to be able to associate with, being able to allow your profile to be found more. And there's a lot of other cool things like being able to get access to LinkedIn Live, being able to get access to the new newsletter feature that LinkedIn offers, which is super powerful as well too. But another cool thing, David, is they just allow you to start being able to add a link to underneath your profile right at the top. So you can actually add a hyperlink either to your website or something that's going on. Like if you go to my profile, you'll see it, Joshua B. Lee on LinkedIn. You'll see there's a link there that says free SOA coin, because we're in our live event next week. We're launching our own crypto coin and being able to give access to that kit, so you can actually be able to grab access to there. So it's leveraged. So think about this, data. You have the event. We have it a little bit differently, right? You change the banner to be able to talk about your event, and then you can use that link as a hyperlink straight to that event. So they don't have to go searching for the next event or what you've got going on or what you're actually talking about right now too. So leveraging those two together is super powerful.
Super nice, because I saw first like this link is only there for companies or company profiles. And yeah, I would love to also get
one. Now it's on there for your personal profiles. So you can use it on, you get on there too and leverage on both things.
Yes. And as I know, like we have this month's whole webinar months, we have 4 more webinars coming. So I think we should get that, like Laura and Veronica, as I see there also here on the webinar. So I think we should have that on my profiles and all our profiles. And so about this coin, you with Standout Authority, you're offering kind of a course, a training for personal branding, for corporate branding, as far as I understood. And with this coin, you get access to your community.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to go into the coin right now, but yeah, I mean, like, you know, this is something, David, I mean, we're going through to be able to do if everyone wants to, you know, as we talk about building community, building relationships, right? Like instead of doing workshops, webinars, being able to, you know, do this, like we're moving into, you know, Web3, into the blockchain, and we're actually creating our what's called a creator coin on the blockchain. And, you know, we're going to be gifting that to, you know, all the different people that want to be able to join the community. In that community, that the utility attached to owning a coin, which has actual value in it. And as the community grows, that value of that coin grows up. And at any point in time, you can sell it, you can keep it, whatever, but you continue to be able to get access as long as you hold on to our coins into our new Discord community, where we're actually talking about personal branding, company branding, organic marketing, LinkedIn training, all those different aspects, being able to grow that community. So yeah, David, we'll share a link, and I'm happy to be able to give everyone, you know, 25 coins to be able to get them started, not only on their LinkedIn training and personal journey, you know, on that platform, but also be able to get everyone started in, you know, Web3, you know, the disruption of, and this is what we're seeing, right? This is why you and I are talking, David, because everyone sees, you know, Web 3.0 and, you know, the blockchain and crypto, it's all like a digital revolution, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. It's a human revolution, because it's giving power back to the people and allowing people to be able to take control of their content, of their destiny, of their community, and being able to take those next step forward. And so that's what I'm really excited of everyone to be able to kind of go through and be able to learn all these different opportunities. Now, Clay, let's see. The downside creator mode is that you're harder for others to connect with you one-on-one to be able to message others, and creator mode seems to make the goal harder. Now, I'm just answering a question, David, I see from Clay over here. Really, right now, you only have 30,000 connections. What I want, and the reason why you put creator mode on, is you can definitely have one-on-one messaging with other people. It just takes them a second to be able to go in. You have to be able to hit the more button and then add a personalized note. It'll say, send a connection request. I mean, with this, anything, Clay, you want to make sure when you're connecting with someone, you always send the personalized connection request. David, do you remember the game? It was super popular for a while, Pokemon, right?
Of course. Yeah.
You know, Pokemon Go was big. It was collect them all, right?
Yeah, I'm still young, so of course I grew up with Pokemon.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? It was like, you got to collect them all. But that's what so many people think about on LinkedIn, right? They're like, I got to collect them all, right? Like, but we're not playing Pokemon on LinkedIn, right? I don't need to collect everybody. And this is why so many people get pissed off with LinkedIn, is they go, all I see is a whole bunch of junk and spam, and I get pitched and all the time in my messages and on my feed of it, because you're just hitting that add button all the time. And so that's what I want everyone to understand. And Clay, this is why I want people to go through and add a creator mode, because it makes it a little bit more difficult. I want people to be able to connect with you and have a reason to connect with you, to start that conversation, to build that relationship and create opportunity. So this is why I want these additional steps, to be able to do that and to be able to give you more power, more tools, because there are new things coming out.
When you're connecting with people on LinkedIn, do you always send a first connection message with it, or do you just send a connect? Because like I tested both, and I had the feeling just sending a connect, the people are more interested because they're more curious what is behind this. Because when I send sometimes first message, they know what's behind.
Right.
So what worked for you better?
All right, David. I'm gonna lay out our secret sauce, man. I'm gonna give the whole thing, because, you know, I talked to you a little bit earlier, and I don't think we actually got into it, right? Like, I'm not trying to play the LinkedIn algorithm or the Facebook algorithm or the Twitter, whatever social algorithm, right? Because those change all the time. And most people are trying to play those algorithms. You're trying to learn the next trick, the next hack, the next shortcut, whatever it is. But if you're learning those, you have to continue to be able to pay attention to what the next trick is, what the next hack is, what the next shortcut is, because those change constantly. The biggest thing that I'm looking for is to be able to understand and learn. This is what I try to be able to do, to overall humanize, how, not euthanize, humanize, you know, how people actually connect, is by understanding the human algorithm. Because that's the one algorithm that only grows over time. It doesn't shift and change, right? So once you actually understand the human algorithm, how I connect is by leveraging that, right? Currently, right now, well, David, did you ever see the movie on Netflix, The Social Dilemma?
Actually, I never saw it. And a lot of people said you need to see it. I wanted to also read the book, but actually didn't have the time. The last one I saw was on Apple TV. It was We Crashed from WeWork.
Okay, yeah.
But I didn't saw that one.
Social Dilemma was interesting just because of the fact, like you and I probably get it, the younger generations, but like my mom and dad, right, when they were watching it, my mom was like, I can't believe they're manipulating us and doing all these crazy things, right? Because what we've been doing, what these social media platforms have been doing is conditioning us. They've been conditioning all of us to be in this pattern of like, comment, share, post, like, comment, share, post, like, comment, share, post, right? And so that's the biggest thing. If you want to be able to get someone's attention, as we know, and I've been doing, been an entrepreneur for 20 years, this is my 16th company, being able to go into that, you have to create stopgaps in someone's pattern to be able to get them to hear you, to get them to listen to you. So how do you create stopgaps in a pattern? Well, one of the biggest things that we learned over the last couple of years, especially with COVID and everything like that, is there's a lot of things in our life that we took for granted, right? I know I took for granted being able to go outside and be able to not wear a mask all the time. I took for granted being able to take my wife, on dates anytime I wanted to. I took for granted my kids actually going to school, not just to the other room, because I wasn't built to be a teacher. So those are things that I just took for granted. And I appreciate those teachers so much more. I love that my kids go to school. But the same thing on social media, and especially on LinkedIn, we take for granted someone looking at your profile, someone engaging on your content, or your ideal client posting a great post. So those are trigger moments, right? So how we actually leverage it and go through is we look for these triggers, because all of us on this platform, unless I don't know, I mean, maybe you're crazy, it's not me. I hate cold calls and I hate cold email, right? Because I know someone's going to pitch. If I get that call and it has a 2 seconds, I'm hanging up because I know that they're going to probably go into a pitch, or it's an automated message or whatever it might be. So what I look for is a trigger point that I can actually go through. If someone looks at my profile, let's just start with that. David, you looked at my profile. I noticed that we're not connected. I want to start with appreciation, because in this world, we don't appreciate these little things in life enough. And appreciation creates, and if someone's appreciated for something they've taken for granted, it makes them pause. It makes them go. So I can look in, and how I go through is I look for the trigger point. Hey, David, I noticed you looked at my profile. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you. Too often we don't appreciate this. I'd love to be able to connect with you and find out what pushed you to look me up, right? See how that shifts a little bit?
Yeah, that's like the same what we are doing, for instance. I mean, as our tool is working on LinkedIn, once you connect to our tool, you always land on my personal page. And I see then that the people kind of went to my page, and I start directly like reaching out and just saying, hey, I saw that you're starting Lead Jet. I'm here if you have any questions. Appreciate to make the contact, and exactly do it like this. And that's like, I know we didn't want to talk about hacks, but this is for instance also one hack where they come to my page, I do the move, start connecting, doing kind of the outreach, and just here for helping. And that worked quite well, because I first can connect to our audience in a one-to-one basis. And I also can learn if they have any problems for the product, which can then go into product development, which is great.
And you're making it about them. And this is that whole piece, right? I mean, that's what people want to be able to understand. I mean, like, I doubt that a lot of people on here have ever actually got a message, unless you're actually working with Lead Jet, or, you've been one of, someone that you're connected with me. You've got that personalized message that says, hey, I just want to say thank you for looking at my profile. I mean, who here, let's say on Facebook, you've liked someone's post, who here has ever got a personal message saying, hey, Val, I just want to reach out and say thank you for liking my recent post? Doesn't happen, right? So that's where maybe people go in and they go, whoa, you just thanked me. Again, we're in that like, comment, share, post, like, comment, share, post. So it creates those stop gaps. So that's what we look for. We look for someone engages on our post, right? Saying thank you for doing that. Someone looks at our profile, or we use something like Sales Navigator, right? And we go through, and I'm like, oh, hey, Laura. And Laura posted some amazing content, right? That is relevant. She's my ideal audience. Well, I want to like her post. I want to comment on it. Then I want to reach out and say, hey, Laura, I just want to reach out and say thank you. I saw your post recently, and it really added value because of X, Y, and Z, right? So that's how we reach out, and we go through, be able to leverage that human algorithm. And that's how our messages always start out. And so that right there, because especially too, if you're trying to get access to your ideal audience, the average person gets less than 1% engagement on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So when they get those likes, they get those comments, they get that message, man, it's stop. I don't care if it's the person, their social media manager, or it's the CEO of the company. Whoever's actually working it is going to be appreciative of being appreciated.
Yeah, no, that's completely true. I also saw one of your posts where you kind of do like tell a story, and I think it got 1,000 likes or something, which I was like, okay, wow, crazy. I would love to have one of these, like in this size of likes with my own posts. But actually, I also realized once you share with your audience some more personal things, like people get more engaged because you're more human. And for instance, I had also one post where I talked about that we wrote a social selling ebook, and I talked about again German class back then, and I talked about my teacher and writing that she would probably be proud of it because I was not the best in writing. And I saw you had also a post like where you said there was a life-changing moment when you were 34 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
that's the whole thing. And this is what I want people to think about, David. And I love that you're putting that in there because content is key, right? But like, it's in a world of content. Like I promise you, and of course I'm going back to Netflix right now, but I mean, we've all been there, you know, where we've been on a Friday night. I know my wife and I too, and we're like, God, there's nothing to watch. Wrong. There's too much to watch. We have an overload, right? Content isn't king anymore. Equality is queen. Right? And that's what we really want to understand. And LinkedIn looks at it at the same time. So you're putting out content, unless you're a well-known name, a household name, like you should only be doing one post a day, right? As you kind of go through, and how those posts are actually laid out. I believe in the 10-20-70 method. So the 10-20-70 method is 10% personal, right? So when you're creating your content, you need to be able to have that little bit of you in that comment, right? There's a reason why there's a you in human. Right. And so you have to have 10%. It's not like Facebook, right? You don't need to know when my kids are going to school, but you need to know that I have them. Or like David, went to school, right? Like in these kind of things, right? What's going on? Or you went to Oktoberfest, right? These are the things like, oh, I've been there too, right? We look for commonalities, and that's what we want to be able, when you're creating content, people like to be able to connect with other people that they relate to. And so that's what I always call my door to the couch mentality, because if I'm knocking on someone's door and I'm like, hey, I'm Josh, I'm here to sell you a pen, most people close the door on you before you even have, at least here in the States, right? But if David and I are sitting on, the couch, we're hanging out, and, because we have some kind of common bond, some that 10% personal experience that we both share, well, I just have to go like, David, I got this new pen, right? I don't have to say much more than that, because he's going to take it from me like, dude, Josh, tell me more, right? So this is where that 10% personal comes in, especially on LinkedIn. 20% of your content needs to be around your company, but not about how you can help someone. Use storytelling and events on how you've helped your past clients, right? People love storytelling, being able to go in. We all hate that person too, that's going in like, I'm going to teach you how to make 7 figures. Well, show me how you've helped somebody else. At the same time, David, we only talk about 20% around our company because we never want to be that person in the room always talking about ourselves, right? We've all seen like, there's Josh. That dude never shuts up about LinkedIn. Oh God, it's exhausting. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that on LinkedIn. I don't want to be that on any platform. So 20% of your content should only be around your company and how you've helped other people. And last, that 70%, this is the most important, David. We want to be educators. We want to inspire our audience. We want them to be able to come to us and understand that we're the person. So 70% of your content should be adding value, educating your audience, right? Taking information. Everyone here is listening to David and myself. Make sure you're taking this. Don't covet that information. Share it with other people, because if you educate them enough, they're going to realize they have a problem and they're going to come to you for the solution, even if it wasn't your content. So these are the things that I want you to think about, right? I want your LinkedIn page and your content to become a destination site. I want people to come every single day to go, oh, I'm going, Debbie posts amazing. I go to Debbie's page every day. I go to Clay's page every day. I go to Anita's page every day, right? Because she is educating me every single day on what my industry, and she's the industry expert. So 10% personal, 20% around your company on how you can help, how you've helped people, and then 70% add value. So that's kind of how we do our posts. And I mean, it really does allow that audience. I mean, as I said before, David, the average person gets less than 1% engagement. Our clients that we work with and go through, the average person gets anywhere from 8 to 10% engagement on their content.
Yeah, I think it's important when you talk about engagement and I talk about an audience. I mean, if you are talking to the right audience, of course, the engagement rate is higher. So
Right.
if I'm talking about sales and my audience is full with doctors, I mean, I think the engagement rate is not that high. So what we are also always like helping our clients is finding the right audience and then reaching out to the right audience.
Yeah.
Maybe I can also share with you. Wait, where is it?
Yeah, man. I'd love to be able to see how you're being able to identify those audiences because it's so, so important. So many people miss it.
Yeah, so you can have it in two ways. I mean, either you do when you have when you're on standard LinkedIn, you go for the easy way. So I say we are searching for account executives in Paris in this manner, and then you can have a lot of different filters. But on standard LinkedIn, you don't have that many filters like you have on Sales Navigator, for instance. So here I can say, okay, I want to have first level degree connections. I can say I want to only have people in Paris. And I only want to have people, for instance, in working for Salesforce. So, and then I show the results and you see there's only 3 results. So first level degree connections, but they're kind of working at Salesforce. So we are at the moment looking as a role for an account executive to join our team. Maybe I could reach out to them. What you can do, and that's now like the filter on steroids, is when you have a Sales Navigator license. So what we often do is we kind of create a saved search. So as I said, we are currently in hiring mode. As we are growing as a company, we are searching for German and French account executives. So what I then do, and you can apply that in the same manner to sales. So I'm looking for the headcount of the companies. I can then have a lot of different functions like industry, the language, years in current company. And for sales, you can also do the same. Like, I don't know, I want to sell to a company that's growing with a headcount of 50%. Sales Navigator gives you all these kind of different options. And now the problem is, okay, first, how can I connect? Okay, you can just easy click on connect and then do one by one. But then how do you manage these people in a kind of sales process? And that's where we help as a tool. So we don't kind of automate for you the message sending because that's not what we believe in. We say hooking sales has no relevance for us. So we believe in the one-to-one sales approach. And either we kind of go into then our build lead lists. So let's say here for French AE talents, I have here my big lead list of, I don't know, 38 results. And then together with LeadJet, so that's a Chrome extension you actually can install to your browser in 2 clicks, and it connects to your CRM like Salesforce, Pipedrive, HubSpot, or Copper. And then you see the tool is already working and these contacts are actually in my CRM. So when I would now click on Philip, I see here that I have some CRM information. So this is coming from us. I can search now with our tool for his email and phone number, for instance. That's in one-to-one synchronization with your CRM. So actually I found his email. I could now send him an email if I want. Or if he wouldn't be in my CRM, so let's go back to this view. I could select, like here, these 4 people, and I could export them as a new contact into my CRM. And then you see it exporting the contact, and yeah, I can leave it. I can now go to Agatha, for instance, and I can have her view in my CRM. So in this case, I'm using Pipedrive. And you see here, we have Agatha, we have a profile picture, information about her company. And we've created that with 1 click. You can also do the same from standard LinkedIn. So let's say, let's go for this profile. And I can just add Andrea in this case to my CRM. And then you see, it's like a magical purple button. Yeah, this pops up from us. This is basically a CRM snapshot. So really we hover on top of LinkedIn, or the CRM hovers on top of LinkedIn, and we found her email, we found her phone number. We could change the lifecycle stage you have in your CRM. You could change basically and add any CRM field you wish. So here are all your CRM fields, and you stay in LinkedIn and you just can update your CRM from here. You can create deals, you can have notes about your prospects. And also we help in terms of messaging. So we synchronize, for instance, your messages. Let's go here. For instance, recently I talked with Anthony, and there was exactly that example I was talking about. I'm reaching out once people signed up for LeadJet and ask, hey, if I can be of any help. Anthony just answered. I shared it in our Slack because we were very proud that he loves LeadJet. And I see he's not in my CRM, so I could add him straight from here. And once I've added him, I can also synchronize all the conversations we had. So as you can see here, now it's synchronized. And when I go now into Pipedrive, you see I have all his phone numbers, email, and also the last LinkedIn conversations synchronized. So it's very easy. And yeah, maybe I can ask you, Joshua, about some, I don't know, icebreakers, conversation openers, how you do or how would you advise people to do. We also help here as a tool by having message templates, just right from here, but I have this Zoom bar here. So actually, no, can't click, now I can. And here we have a lot of different templates. For instance, you can have placeholders like first name, last name, company name, and then it gets into it. And you see, hi, Anthony, great to connect. I've seen you working at Pigment. Yeah, so that's a little snapshot of LeadJet and how we can help you once you identify your audience and once you want to add kind of new contacts from your audience in an easy way to your CRM. And then, yeah, Joshua, you're taking over again with some messages and how you can have great conversations in a humanized way.
Yeah, no, I mean, David, this is amazing. This is, again, why, as I told you, there's so many different companies out there that don't take the time, energy, and effort that you at LeadJet do, because they just go through and they're teaching. It's a spamming tool. And what you're really trying to do is you're a relationship tool. And this is why, I was like, when you guys asked for me to be on this with you, I was like 100%, because I appreciate that. And that's what it's about, right? This is what it's all about, being able to build those relationships. One thing, David, that we kind of go through and do sometimes as well to be able to enhance that, right? Like you start with that appreciation, just like someone signed up for LeadJet, you're reaching out, hey, I just want to reach out and say thank you, right? One thing that we start doing it too is, my mom always taught me to be able to give someone a compliment when I meet them, right? So we're trying to be able to go in and look, there's a reason why, I'm called the dopamine dealer of LinkedIn, right? It's a title that was given to me on a podcast and it's kind of stuck and gone through, is because of the fact that people like to be able to hit these little hits of dopamine that when we're having these conversations, if you keep them in those dopamine fields, it keeps them in a flow state, allowing that conversation to be easier, right? Where they're not at a tense level. So one thing, as I said, my mom always taught me to give a compliment. So on LinkedIn, once we connect with someone, and before I send that first message, I'm actually going in there and giving them an endorsement, David. I'm endorsing them for one of their skills, because LinkedIn then goes in and says, hey, Josh, Josh just endorsed you for X. Do you want to say thank you? So being able to send that first connection request and then being able to give that endorsement, a lot of times they'll say, yeah, hit and says, oh, thank you, Val, for endorsing me for marketing. Now it's actually kind of even flipped the conversation around. And this is perspective, right? This is using that human algorithm. Instead of us always having to start the conversation, because we started I just want to start with appreciation. They connected, right? So we've got that first action, appreciation, they've connected. Then we go through and give them a compliment, right? It's just the same thing. People go, how can I endorse someone if I don't know what they are? I walk up to people all the time like, oh, wow, amazing dog, great hat. David, when you and I first met, you complimented my artwork, right? I mean, so these are those things that we do. And I mean, that's what I want people to understand. Like, it's not like giving a recommendation on LinkedIn. It's just an endorsement of one of their skills. It's being nice. It's, as I tell my kids, the main rule of our household is it's nice to be nice, right? And being able to go through, and we need to be able to kind of think about that on LinkedIn too, is being able to get that endorsement. So once they read back and say, hey, Josh, thanks for endorsing me for marketing. Now it's them starting the conversation. Again, we're looking for those actions for those people to continue to take those mini micro actions that take us to the next level. Happy to do it, David. Hey, quick question for while I have you, right? Now I can ask like a qualifying question to understand more about their mindset, where they're at, because these are those things that we kind of go through and do. I want to make sure that before I offer anything to them, I understand where they're at. And people in this world, I don't care who you are, this is why social is so popular and everything else. People love to be experts in what they're doing. So if you ask them a question about them or what they do or their thought, they are more actively want to go, oh, David asked me something. He wants me to weigh in. Yeah, well, this is what I think, X, Y, and Z. Now I can provide value based on where they're at. And this gives us 6 to 7 little micro touches before we ever get to a point that we're actually providing any value to them at all. So that's kind of how we actually switch it up a little bit. And you can definitely use how you're leveraging that and be able to go in. I mean, I see massive opportunities to be able to do that with lead gen.
I also did that when I was studying, like in my master's program. We needed to do a customer discovery. And actually, that's also how LeadJet got created, because we had this own pain. But we needed to reach out to high executives at top-notch companies in the US. And what we did is we went on the kind of recent events taking place in all over the US, had a look on the speakers, then found the speakers on LinkedIn, just reaching out by saying, hey, I just arrived to the US. I would have loved to attend your event and hear you speaking about because I have these 2 questions about it. And then people, I think the response rate was 100%, because I think no one is coming back to you after an event and asking you a question. But when you come back to them, they feel very appreciated and think, okay, there's actually interest in what I was talking about. So they are super responsive and giving you the answer. And then it turned out I had a CEO of $1 billion company on the phone the next day for just half an hour and asking for my students project, like some discovery questions. And it can work like this. And so without kind of puking or selling something, just ask them first. And I think that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, David, I love that. I mean, like we see that all the time. I mean, if I'm going to an event, I'm speaking in Miami next week. Like I make sure that if I don't know the other speakers, I'm reaching out to them. If I'm attending an event, I'm reaching out to them ahead of time, right? Going, hey, David, I see you're speaking at X and I'm going to be showing up. I'm looking forward to being able to connect with you while I'm there, right? There's a reason why. Now the opportunity to not even, if you're not following up with them afterwards, even doing it before the event to be able to go in, because now the opportunity for you to walk up and they connect with you, like, and you see them at the event, like, hey, Val, I saw you at the event, right? Like, we connected on LinkedIn. I wanted to make sure I followed up with you. We talked about this. So everything you and I are talking about, and I hope everyone's paying attention, is just building relationships. Same thing with here. Like, I hope, David, like everyone on here has connected with you and I, right? Being able to be on here. I want y'all to be able to connect with us. I want you to say, hey, Josh, wow, I really enjoy the conversation. I learned X, Y, Z, whatever, right? Or, I always love it too. Like, David, I'm on podcasts, right? I'll go in, they're like, hey, how do people want to find you? I'll tell the podcast, I said, look, you guys are listening on a podcast, and I know we were talking about before. Clay had talked about being here. Hear me over there. But I mean, like as we were going on, I'll say, hey, tell me why you listen to X podcast. If you send me that personalized message now, like on here, right? Like I want everyone to send me a message. Tell me why you work with David and everyone at LeadJet, right? Because if you send me those messages, then I can go back to David and build a better relationship with him and go, David, dude, look at all these amazing messages I got from all your clients that listen in. And now I can give him that feedback that you guys are telling me. So it builds that relationship. It allows me to create more conversation on that path.
Yeah, no, I actually also had once someone who applied for LeadJet, and this person did kind of a customer discovery with our or potential customers and coming to us and saying, hey, all these customers or potential customers are saying this and that about LeadJet. And I was like, wow. Before we even had contact and she was just applying for the job, she already gave so much value to me that for me, it was just 100% made sense to reach out and say, hey, let's schedule an interview or something, because she caught my attention. She brought me value instantly. And I had the feeling I need to return something. So I think this is bringing also value to someone without asking for something in the first place, by understanding his or her situation, and then having this really personalized approach and value delivery. I think that's very, very good.
Yeah. And I mean, David, this whole thing, I mean, this is what I want to understand. Like, unless you're selling widgets, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're selling, like, look, I'm going to be honest, LinkedIn's not the platform to be able to try and sell like $5 items. Like most of our clients have products or services that range anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $50,000, right? So like this is the opportunity as you're talking about it, right? Like you can't go through, if you're trying to be able to go in and sell a $5 or $1 product on LinkedIn using this method, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, it's a long way. Like this is not the way, this is the way to be able to relationships, because people don't want to just land on a page anymore and go through a digital funnel. They don't want to just go through, we can, as humans, we see automation, right? We see through it very quickly. And so as we continue to be able to do it, this is the way to be able to work with clients on a higher level to create relationships for high-end products and services, right? Yeah. This is what we're trying to be able to do. I don't want to sell 1 million things at $1. I want to be able to, get to that $1 million. I want to make sure I'm working with, I don't know, I want to sell $10,000, opportunities, right? And be able to sell 10 of those and build 10 real relationships. And that's how using LeadJet, what I'm talking about here, will help you to accomplish day in and day out without the overwhelm.
Yeah. And we had, before the webinar, we actually had a post on LinkedIn, as you also saw, where we had a poll asking the people, what's your most effective tactic? Is it like word of mouth? Is it inbound, outbound techniques? And most people clicked actually word of mouth, which is basically relationship oriented. Yep. Because I think when you have a good relationship with someone, then he speaks in highly words of you, and then probably brings another prospect or a client to you. And that's what we see also with LeadJet. I mean, we didn't spend for the last year any money for marketing, as we are a bootstrap company without the funding. So for us, it was very important to create relationships, because then they spread the words and we can grow as a company. Yeah.
Love that, man. Well, I mean, it's just overall really, enjoy being able to, spend time and talk about everything. I mean, like any other, anything else that we need to cover, David, that you want to go through, or do we want to open it up?
I would say thanks a lot for your time, as we are a bit over time, and and I think you are also the same. When we hit a topic, I love to talk about it.
We could sit here all day talking about these things. Exactly. I really do believe, but I want to make sure that we always respect everyone else's time.
Yes, exactly. So I would maybe look quickly into the chat if there are some questions we didn't answer.
Looks like you might have one. Oh no, you responded already.
Already, yeah. I'm not multitasking. It was very hard for me to listen and writing at the same time.
Will the recording be available?
Yes, the recording will be available. We will share it. I think we can also share in the email the kind of 25 coins you offered.
And I mean, like, look, I mean, while I'm here, David, with everyone, on your webinar here and I'm like that, if anyone else has any other questions, like feel free to, pop in. I mean, David, I'm even fine if someone wants to unmic and ask a question too. I mean, it's, we want to always make sure, and this is the biggest thing, everyone, always leave with value, and I'll stop on that, because when someone goes in, you're having a conversation, building a relationship, when they give you the wrong answer, right? Like, oh, not my client. All of a sudden, what do we all hear, right? We hear crickets, right? Nothing, silence. Don't do that, right? If you ask the right question, you go in and be able to build a relationship, always leave with value. Even if they answer the question wrong, have something you can provide with them. Have a piece of white paper, have a PDF, if you have an ebook, right? If you have something like that, always give them something, because what you want to be able to do is leave that conversation, because even if it didn't turn out to be a client, remember what our main goal is: to build advocates first. And advocates, when they go in, they give something, even without ever receiving, they will turn around. Even if they're not ready to work with you right now, or they're not the right client, they might be later. And if they're not the right client, they might have someone to refer you to as well. So you always hear lead with value. I want everyone to remember to leave with value in every conversation.
And you see, I took notes while having a call, so especially about your posting, 10% personally, 20% find commonalities, 70% educating. So probably I'm discussing this after with the whole marketing team. So thanks for bringing value to me, to us, and to have you in this webinar. Get sure to follow Joshua and connect with him on LinkedIn, and check out Standout Authority. I think it's a great program. You have some cool things popping up also around blockchain, Web3, which is a hot topic at the moment. And no, it was just great having you here and seeing you in person and seeing a bit of art also, as I'm an art lover by myself, but not yet there to, I'm more painting myself than buying, because yeah, maybe at a later stage, but I love art as a German. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
David, I love it, man. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to it. I appreciate everyone listening to us today.
Yeah, perfect. Joshua, have a good day. Everyone else as well. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, connect with us if you have any other questions. We are here to answer all of that.